Hey there, Steelers Nation. What a season it's been for the black and gold. As we head into the playoffs, one thing is crystal clear. The Pittsburgh Steelers are committed to improving every day to bring the kind of results that make our city proud. Whether it's fine-tuning on the field or regrouping off of it, this team is grinding to get better. Before we jump into today's big story about Russell Wilson defending George Pickens after a tough game, take a moment to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for notifications. Your support keeps this Steelers community thriving, and it's the best way to stay up to date with all things black and gold. Steelers fans, we know Week 18 wasn't pretty. The loss to the Cincinnati Bengals exposed several issues, from defensive miscommunications in the first half to an offense that just couldn't find its rhythm. And then there was George Pickens, who had a game to forget. 1 catch for 0 yards on 6 targets and 3 drops. Yes, you read that right. More drops than yards or receptions combined. In a game where every play mattered, Pickens' struggles stood out. But quarterback Russell Wilson wasn't about to let one bad outing define his star receiver. When asked about Pickens' performance in the post-game press conference, Wilson came to his teammates' defense. "I believe in George. Everything's not always perfect for everyone. This is an imperfect game. I believe in who he is, the player that he is. He's been a star for us all season, and he's going to be a difference maker, obviously, for us. I'm looking forward to what he can do." Wilson's words are a testament to his leadership, but they also highlight the trust he has in Pickens. Despite the drops, Wilson made it clear that Pickens is still a key part of the Steelers' plans for the playoffs. Pickens' talent has never been in question. He's a freak athlete with the ability to make jaw-dropping plays. But his career has been dogged by concerns about consistency and maturity. Sunday's performance didn't do much to quiet those critics. The drops weren't just frustrating, they were costly in a game where the Steelers needed every edge they could get. Add in Pickens' history of sideline antics and occasional sulking, and it's clear the young receiver needs to refocus. Wilson seems confident that Pickens can rebound, and there's no denying his potential to shine in the playoffs. The wild card game could be the perfect opportunity for Pickens to prove himself and silence the doubters. But if he doesn't, the Steelers may face tough decisions in the offseason. As one of the only reliable targets in the receiving corps, Pickens' value is undeniable. But reliability is a two-way street. If his struggles continue, could the Steelers consider trading him? It's not out of the question, especially if General Manager Omar Khan sees an opportunity to rebuild the receiver room with more depth and stability. Despite the rough outing, there were glimmers of hope. The defense, after a shaky start, locked down the Bengals' high-powered offense, holding them to just 314 total yards, Cincinnati's lowest total since Week 8. T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward looked like vintage versions of themselves, and Keanu Benton continues to impress as a young force on the defensive line. The offense, however, remains a work in progress. With Wilson at the helm, the Steelers need to find consistency, both in the passing game and on the ground. And that's where Pickens' role becomes even more critical. As the team prepares for the wild card game, all eyes will be on Pickens. Will he bounce back and make the big plays we know he's capable of, or will his struggles continue to overshadow his immense talent? Wilson has already stated he has no hesitation throwing to Pickens, and the young receiver will undoubtedly have opportunities to redeem himself. But make no mistake, this is a pivotal moment for Pickens' future in Pittsburgh. Steelers fans, let's not sugarcoat it. Finishing the regular season on a 4-game losing streak hurts. The offense has been out of sync. The defense has been plagued with communication issues, and even Russell Wilson seems to be a shadow of his former self. But the spotlight right now is squarely on George Pickens, our third-year wide receiver who's struggled to make an impact lately. After missing 3 games with a hamstring injury, Pickens returned, but his connection with Wilson has been almost non-existent. The latest example? A tough outing against the Cincinnati Bengals where Pickens had just 1 catch for 0 yards on 6 targets, including 3 drops. Former NFL star J.J. Watt shared his thoughts on the Steelers' struggles during his appearance on That Other pregame show on CBS. Watt didn't hold back when discussing the issues between Wilson and Pickens. "I think especially after last night's game, it's clear there's something going on. Whether it's not being on the same page, whatever it may be, but I do know they need to get that deal figured out ASAP if they're going to have any chance. In the playoffs." Steelers Nation, Watt's not wrong. Our running game has been inconsistent, and that makes the Wilson-Pickens connection absolutely critical to the team's success. Without it, this offense struggles to move the ball and score points. Saturday night's loss to the Bengals was supposed to be an opportunity for Pickens to shine. Historically, he's performed well against Cincinnati, but this time it was the worst game of his career. 1 target in the first half? That's not how you use a player of Pickens' caliber. To make matters worse, when the ball did come his way, Pickens couldn't capitalize. Those 3 drops? They weren't just missed opportunities, they were momentum killers. It's understandable that Pickens feels frustrated, but frustration doesn't win football games. Execution does. J.J. Watt went on to emphasize just how crucial the Pickens-Wilson connection is for the Steelers. If George Pickens isn't playing well, or if Russell Wilson and George Pickens aren't on the same page, it's a major, major problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're having a very difficult time moving the ball and scoring touchdowns on offense. It needs to get figured out, and it needs to get figured out very quickly. Watt's urgency isn't misplaced. The playoffs wait for no one, and with the wild card round just around the corner, the clock is ticking for head coach Mike Tomlin and his staff to address these issues. Let's face it, Steelers fans, this isn't just about one bad game or even one player. The offense as a whole has been underwhelming, and that falls on everyone, from the coaching staff to the players on the field. But what's particularly frustrating is how underutilized Pickens has been. 1 target in the first half of a game. That's not how you treat your top wide receiver. Yes, Pickens needs to focus and make the catches, but the coaching staff also needs to do a better job of scheming plays to get him involved early and often. If the Steelers can't figure this out, the consequences could be significant. Another early playoff exit would make it 8 straight seasons without a postseason win. That kind of drought puts everyone, from the coaching staff to the front office, under the microscope. And what about Pickens? If these struggles persist, the organization may have to consider big changes in the offseason. Could a trade be on the table? It's not impossible, especially if the Steelers feel they need to rebuild their receiving core around more consistent playmakers. The good news is that it's not too late. There's still time for Pickens to turn things around and show why. He's one of the most talented young receivers in the league. The wild card game offers a chance for redemption, for Pickens, for Wilson, and for the entire Steelers offense. But the question is, will they seize it? Now it's time for you to weigh in, Steelers fans. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. 1. Do you believe George Pickens can bounce back and prove he's a top 5 receiver in the league? Why or why not? 2. Was Russell Wilson right to defend Pickens after such a tough game? Or do you think the team needs to hold him more accountable? 3. What do you think the Steelers should do if Pickens' struggles continue? Should they stick with him or consider a trade? 4. What changes do you want to see on offense heading into the playoffs? Let us know your thoughts below. This is your chance to show why Steelers Nation is the most passionate fan base in the NFL. Steelers Nation, the playoffs are here, and it's time to rally behind our team. George Pickens has a chance to make up for Week 18 and remind everyone why he's such an exciting talent. But whether he rises to the occasion or not, the Steelers will need everyone, players and fans alike, to bring their A game. So if you're as fired up as we are for the wild card game, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your fellow fans. Let's bring that black and gold energy into the postseason and show the world what Steelers Nation is all about. Here we go, Steelers Nation!